everybody, welcome back to Young Adults. We're coming to you recorded from a new location, and your group leader will give you $10 if you can correctly identify the background behind me. So, just want to get started with our discussion this week. We're going to be looking at Exodus chapter 35 and 36. The end of the book of Exodus is concerned with the gathering of materials and then constructing of this basically mobile temple that Israel is going to carry with them and set up at key points in the wilderness, a place where they will meet and worship God. So God has now brought Israel to a place where he can describe what they need, gather the materials, and build it. And we're going to take the next couple weeks to look at this portion of Exodus and actually finish Exodus out. Pretty crazy. We're here at the end. The beginning of this section, starting in chapter 35, we're introduced to two, maybe little known, but very interesting characters, Oholiab and Bezalel, or Bezalel, depending on how you want to say it. And we're going to get to see their special giftings that they bring to Israel and the community there. There's three main themes that are sort of woven through this passage that we want to look at. This is a very different sort of study, and it's interesting that we get to slow down and look at it. But I want to look at the theme of willingness and enthusiasm. The willingness of the people to obey God's command and how enthusiastic they are about it is key to this passage. Second, talent and giftedness. We see a couple people, it's Oholiab and Bezalel, that are singled out for their special talent and giftedness that God had given them to do this specific work. And finally, the work itself. So you have sort of these three themes of willingness, talent, and work, and how they're woven together and how God wants to use those things in his plan. So tons of practical things to think about in this passage. It's an ancient scene, more than 2,000 years old, more than 3,000 years old actually, and yet very, we'll say, relevant contemporary things to think about in terms of our own work, our own practical service to God, the lives that we had to live, and how God might want to use our talent, our giftedness, and our willingness to serve him and accomplish his purposes. So I just think sort of maybe an off-the-beaten-track study, but tons of great stuff for us to look at. And then actually I give some direction at the end of the sheet. If you have some prayer time at the end with your groups, it'd be great to pray about specific things that might rise to the surface of your thoughts when you're discussing this passage about your own life, your own talents, your own way of serving the Lord and how God might want to do that in your life. So really great things to pray about for this passage too. Enjoyed the discussion. Lord willing, we'll be back together next week. And then finally, don't forget that this weekend, we have our Weekend in the Word. We are nearing the number. We had to give our caterer numbers for some of the meals we're going to be making so we could know how much food to order. And we are actually nearing that number. We have more signups for this weekend than ever before in the history of Young Adults. You have broken the record. But we do still have space. So if you want to go, Tom, is it possible for you to flash up the QR code on the screen for them to scan? Is that like old technology? Could you do that? Maybe after I'm done talking, the QR code is going to flash up, and then I think you could put your phone up to the screen and you could scan it. Sama is shaking his head, yes, you can do that. And that will take you to this thing called a website where you can sign up for the event. But you cannot Venmo money, right, Sama? We're not doing Venmo. We're not that sophisticated. So if you'd still like to go, let us know or email Emily Brown at ebrown@ccphilly.org, and we can see about getting you signed up. We're going to hit a limit soon, though, so do it quickly before we run out of space. And looking forward to being with all of you who signed up, including, I believe, the entire group with Dan Lamb. Props to you guys for all coming. So shout out to the Dan Lamb group. Way to show up strong. So God bless you guys. Have a great discussion.